Hello, everyone. Welcome to GNU according to CD. That is Government of National Unity. I saw somebody say, but there's no two CD in your what do you call channel name. I was like, yeah, the two is deliberately omitted. So I know it sounds a little bit short, but it's cool. That's how I like it. Other than that, guys, there is a video that I came across of a Zimbabwean politician. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not gonna butcher it. Initially I thought it was Mnangagwa, but I'm like, this is not Mnangagwa. This is somebody else. And this politician or this Zimbabwean politician is going on at EFF leader Julius Malema. As you guys already know, that Julius Malema had some lecture at Rhodes University and he made some kind of remarks about Zimbabwe and encouraging the youth of Zimbabwe to rise. And basically, some people say that he turned his back against the Zimbabwean people, telling them to go back home and fix Zimbabwe. But he was focusing mostly on the youth of Zimbabwe to rise up, similar to what happened in 1976 in South Africa type of situation. Now, this did not sit well with ZANU PF. And it did not sit well, particularly with this individual that I'm going to play his video towards the end of my commentary. I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't know anything about Zimbabwean politics, but one thing I know for sure is we have over 2 million Zimbabweans in South Africa, and I think South Africans do have some kind of, I'm not going to say a right per se, but I think we can make commentary on what is happening in Zimbabwe, especially the Zimbabwean politics, because at the end of the day, we have 2 million of his people in South Africa, and most of them are occupying jobs that are meant for South African citizens. I mean, I don't have to tell you, come to South Africa yourself and you will go to ShopRite, you go restaurants, you go everywhere. Construction, you name it, they are there. They're the ones who are occupying those jobs. Security, all that stuff that used to be done by South Africans, it's done by Zimbabweans. So I think that does give us some level of, I don't know, to say something about what's happening there in Zimbabwe, considering the fact that they are making us very, very uncomfortable in our own country. Some are involved in heinous crimes and all these other heinous crimes that some of them do commit. Again, this is not casting aspersions to the good people that come from Zimbabwe. The guy that secures my apartment building, very wonderful Zimbabwean guy. He is respectful. He is, he does his job thoroughly and very nice individual, I must say. So I'm not going to add him to the tumultuous ones that are causing havoc in South Africa. But other than that, this politician, he went on to call Julius Malema stupid, uneducated, and no revolutionary. That word always made my eyes roll for some reason. No revolutionary, he's fake revolutionary. And then all I'm listening when I'm listening to this guy is fear because he knows that the youth can take this message to heart and really change things in Zimbabwe. And what's interesting about this politician, he's old, like old. And that is Africa's problem right there. I mean, he is sending a message indirectly to the youth of Zimbabwe that if you dared, but I'm not a supporter of Julius Malema. I think he is definitely a charlatan. If VPS is anything to go by, I have never trusted anything that came from him. I mean, like I always said, I'm a child of the ANC and I know Julius Malema. We grew up with these people. And I've always known his mentality. And he used to be what you would call in the ANC a foot soldier, and he was trained under, I think it was Steve Chwete. No, it wasn't Steve Chwete. It was what's this guy's name again from Limpopo? He was trained by him because we all were trained one way or the other. And Julius Malema was one of those that were picked as foot soldiers. If you know anything about ANC foot soldiers, these are the people you can never argue with them about the ANC. Some of them, if you did, it can turn very, very, very fatal for you. That's the type of situation. And some of us, we were chosen to go to school, go and study, get degrees, because at some point in the future, we are the ones that are going to run the country professionally. But anyways, I don't want to digress too much. But Julius Malema, he is educated. He holds a political science degree from UNISA. I think he has gone as far as master's degree. I think this politician from Zimbabwe is just trying to be petty and trying to size Julius Malema down. Of course, Julius Malema did have a point as far as I'm concerned about the youth of Zimbabwe. That definitely they need to take a stance, because if you look at Kenya, what happened in Kenya about a few weeks ago, guess who rose? It was the youth, the Gen Zs. If you don't know anything about me, one thing I love currently is the Gen Zs. These guys don't take nonsense from nobody. If they don't understand something, they question it. If no answers come through, they make the change they want to see in their communities. And this is happening everywhere in the world. And I still believe that the 40% that was given to the ANC is because the Gen Zs said hell to the no to the ANC, and influenced their parents, influenced their uncles and aunts, grandparents, you name them, and said, if you are going to vote for this political party, you must know that you are voting for me not to have a job, not to go to school, and turn into a druggie and possibly even a criminal. And of course, they listened. I mean, I got Gen Zs in my own family, and they called during the election, on the election day, hey, uncle, how are you voting? I was like, don't worry, I'm not voting for those people that are going to suppress you as a person. And they were happy to hear that. And I think in Kenya, same thing that happened. Ruto, he faced the wrath of the youth. And I think these old men in Zimbabwe may also be fearful, because the youth are the people that turn things around. They make sure that they make the change they want to see. And all these oldies that have run down here to South Africa, they're hopeless. I don't think they'll even go back to Zimbabwe, even if Zimbabwe had to perform better than South Africa. I mean, they have planted their feet and hands and everything in South African society. How you gonna get rid of them? I have no idea, honestly speaking. And then you listen to this guy, he is basically manipulating the situation and saying Zimbabwe is fine. I mean, we've created millionaires and tobacco this. And I'm like, I have no idea what you are saying, sir. I've never been to Zimbabwe, and this is your politics there. But what I know for sure is that in South Africa, we have 2 million people of yours, and denying that there's a situation there, then why are they still here? Because I'll tell you something, in the mid 90s, when everybody was coming down, Angolians were in South Africa, Kenyans were in South Africa, Rwandans were in South Africa. And the moment their countries were fixed, guess what they did? They packed up and left. It's as if they never existed. So if everything is fine in Zimbabwe, why are they still here? Why are they still here? Is my question. So I think this pettiness that comes from this Zimbabwean politician, I think it's his fear of knowing very well what the youth can do. I think he remembers himself as a youth during the Ian Smith days and how they turned things around. Was it Ian Smith? I think so. Yeah, I think he remembers when he was a youth what they did. And so now they are enjoying the gravy train, and now they want to suppress the youth from rising and changing things in South Africa. Anyways, guys, without talking too much, here is the video. Make up your own mind about what you are hearing. But he's going off at Julius Malema, calling Julius Malema a charlatan, and I agree with that 100%, because VBS is not going anywhere until he has cleared his name. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Here goes the video. See you guys next time. Please do not leave without liking, sharing, and commenting. And see you next time. Bye.
Now to get Malema from South Africa, coming from Norway, talking about succession in Zimbabwe, it shows that this is a foreign agenda. And to whom does Malema pander to? He panders to the dictates of the post-colonial, or of the colonial company, colonial era company, Anglo-American, which is an offshoot from Cecil John Rhodes, which actually ran this region from Cape Town up to the Copper Belt in Congo and Zambia. And it manifests itself today in an organization called the Braindeast Foundation. The Braindeast Foundation is the one which authored Mumba of Zambia's document about elections in Zimbabwe. This is the ilk from which Julius Malema emanates from. He posits as a pseudo-revolutionary and a cryptic intellectual. He never properly went to school. And he propounds big theories about how Zimbabwe should be run, as if it is his own country. At 43 years of age, he is no longer a youth. Who is he from South Africa to try to tell the youths of Zimbabwe who should be their ruler? Malema pakati papayama. Why? Because he's a friend of Kasukwere, who a few days ago was echoing the same sentiments with the youths of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe must arise. He has just been in an election. He comes third for a party which broke away from the NC several years ago. Third from Umkondo Wesizwe's MK from Zuma, a party which is hardly 6 months. It's clear that his pseudo-revolutionary message within South Africa has reached a dead end. That's why he could be overtaken. That's why he never made it himself to become the president. So charity begins at home. If you are so good at leadership that you can give strictures to Zimbabwean youth, why not make it success your own homegrown ride to power at Mashambanzo in Pretoria, in Mutsvanwa? He can't. So he suffers from the Rhodes syndrome. And a sick young man comes from Europe, then in South Africa, diamonds are discovered. He ends up as the ruler of South Africa and builds an empire from South Africa, dreaming all the Cape to Cairo. These grandiose ideas about an interloping colonial are what shapes Malema's mind. He sees himself as the ruler of Zimbabwe. As if the people of Zimbabwe on their own are not enough to be ruling their country. We say to him, keep your dead hands out of Zimbabwe's affairs, Malema. Focus on trying to win a South African election first. That's why there are boundaries. That's why the Limpopo is a boundary between Zimbabwe and South Africa. She has no authority at all to be speaking about Zimbabwean politics. And these illusions and delusions of grandeur of being a latter-day African Cecil John Rhodes, straddling from Cape to Cairo. This time he wants to say from Cape to Harare. It won't happen. Our youths, I will speak about what they've done for this country later. They will not listen to the nonsense which is coming from Malema. He has no deliverables himself from within his political career, which one can count on. Now you are being told by a charlatan from South Africa to work against a government which has made you so rich that you can account for $2 billion. You think they will listen to him? They won't. This is what Zimbabwe's youth have achieved. So his miseducation and the cryptic knowledge of Malema about school created this subversive combustion which makes them talk about things which are beyond their intellectual capabilities to grasp. Nobody will listen to them because Zimbabwe's youths are achievers. Look at what they are doing with the gold leaf of tobacco. $800 million every season. Satisfying the best cigarette makers in the whole world. That's why every March they all come to the tobacco auction floors in Zimbabwe. World-class tobacco production, Zimbabwe is number one. Who is doing it? Zimbabwe's youth. These things would not have been possible without the Zimbabwe revolution. And the stabilization of the currency is seeing this world translate into the pockets of these young people. Now you want to tell them that there is something wrong about their government. You got to have your head, get your head examined. So the Zimbabwean youth, they are focused on progress and they see deliverables coming from our president. Obviously, when the Malemas start talking of succession and they are not members of the party and they are not Zimbabweans, it creates anxiety among these youth. So they develop a defensive attitude and they go for strong leadership. That's why they are saying to the president, Rambai Muripo, because we want to safeguard the wins which we are scoring right now. You have delivered wins. We see more of them coming. We want Rambai Muripo. It's a democratic wish on the part of the youth. After all, it's a revolutionary democratic party. They are free, like the women, like the war veterans, to express themselves on that particular issue. You cannot say they should be stopped from debating, from expressing their intentions. But at the same time, they are also pushing back against the anxiety and insecurity of those who want to become dictators of who should be the ruler of Zimbabwe and who should not be.